Just hold on.
Dubey sir, now you can introduce.
Okay. So good evening, friends. Our speaker this evening is Miss Mina Martini. She hardly needs any introduction before this group. But for those who are hearing Mina ji for the first time, I'll briefly introduce her. Miss Mina Martini describes herself as a person who, since an early age, always felt an uncompromising need to inquire into the fundamental issues of existence. The choiceless and all-encompassing nature of this inquiry could not but naturally lead to the question of the nature of the mind itself, instead of dealing with its manifestations and expressions, which we know as the word solely. At the age of 17, her questioning had reached a crucial point at which she was ready to discover Smriti's teachings and also be radically and irreversibly changed by them. She is now 59 and lives in Finland, where she also teaches foreign languages and works as a foster mother in child welfare. With these words, I want to welcome Mina ji once again before this group and want to express my thankfulness for being so kind to accept our invitation and be with us for this talk. Just to give you a brief about how this format is going to work today, there are quite a few videos of Miss Mina Martini. So she will briefly introduce each video and then I will share the screen with the participants. And after the video is over, there are questions or comments to be made. You can do that and Mina will answer those things. And once that is over, then we'll go to the second video and so on. And the same process will be repeated. Am I right, Mina ji? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Mina ji, with these words, you can begin now.
Thank you so much. So I will start by thanking you for accepting me to come here for the third time and to share with you that which is the most significant thing in a human being's life, the discovery of wholeness within and without, which is the same thing. So as has been already said, today we will be experimenting on a different kind of format. So instead of giving a longer talk, we will be listening to some of my videos from my YouTube channel with an average duration of I calculated that also, a little more than four minutes on average. And after that, we can, if anything naturally arises to be shared, then we can share together. Hopefully not too intellectually, so that I can follow as well.
Okay. So you want yeah. Go ahead.
So the way the videos have appeared, they have appeared without any preparation, just in a very intense sense of presence, and when also some words, some topics have just come out of this person. So that is their nature. The need to experiment this new kind of format came from two things. The first was the fact that we're here talking about or approaching in some ways something that is in its very nature timeless, right? So we don't need 1 hour. Actually, we don't need any time for this timeless perception to cut through us. I'm not underestimating the process of time that may be part of this spiritual process in all of us. And also, the listeners, however passionately they may be immersed in the listening, we are still living partly, at least, in our bodies, which may also get tired. And another aspect to this was that from the last 2 times I've been here, I noticed that the question answer session, which should not be called question and answer, but sharing in togetherness session, was sort of hurried through. So there was, at times I felt there was not enough time to stay with a question, but it was just the main thing appeared to be to let everybody who wanted to say something to say something. So instead, I suggest that that if one question arises, we can just as well all of us stay with this one question, because in any case, it is coming from the place of the same place of the human mind. So, oh yes, and I will now, that we can now proceed to watch the videos one by one. And
Yeah,
as
you
I
want
said, yes,
You
and I will
want-
introduce the first one,
Okay.
the way we have agreed to do with Sir Shripati.
You can call me Dubey if that is easier to do.
No, I like Shripati.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds so beautiful.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Now, to understand our true nature is of absolute importance. So this is no entertainment here of any kind, because this understanding is what absolute is also. This is why it is so forcing. Choicelessly passionate in every breath, and yet it doesn't force anyone to do anything. Without this true passion to understand who we really are, our lives are limited to matter, because then we are content with living as an image, remembrance, or knowledge of ourselves, which is the same as memory. It is comparable to memory and thought and matter. So then we live our lives tied to the laws of matter.
Did something happen? I don't see the video anymore.
Dubey sir is not there, Mina madam. Dubey sir has left the meeting, particularly due to some network connection or something like that.
I am asking him.
Oh, one. Okay.
Are the rest of you watching the video now, or am I the only one who doesn't see it?
No, no, it has stopped, Minaji.
Ah,
He is trying his level best to come back on screen. Some problem with net. Is it okay, Mina ji?
is it okay? Everything is okay. No matter what happens. That's the beauty of life.
Minaji, as some part of the video has been played by Shripati Dubey ji, can you introduce the first video? Minaji, can you introduce the first video?
The first video. Again, okay. Okay, the first one, the one we were just listening to.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
at least the time can be utilized in that way, in the timeless state.
Sorry, I still have some difficulty in understanding the pronunciation, the Indian pronunciation.
As
He wanted, Modak
Which
wanted
video?
that
Which video?
you should continue with your speech. You may continue with your speech. Whatever you wanted to say, you can say now. Just forget about the video and say whatever you like to say.
I have already completed what I wanted to say as an introduction, if that is what you are saying.
Very much here. Dubeyji has come back.
Shall we start over again from the introduction of this first video, which was not introduced? Shripati, you're muted.
Please
Okay. You can say something about this video, and then we can invite people to ask questions.
The first video, but it was not listened to in its all of it. It was cut in the middle.
You want
But
me to
anyway,
Yeah.
let's skip this first video, is in my opinion, and see if the second one.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't remember what I've said there. So I don't remember anything. So this is when I listen to the videos, this is a new thing for me also. So I don't know. We did not listen. We didn't listen the whole of it. So I can only conclude, because this is the introduction part actually, what the video was about in a few words. So it was about the absolute importance and seriousness of self-inquiry, and it was seen that the absolute importance comes from the absolute nature of that understanding itself, fundamentally, and that thought can only create a relative, limited, and contradictory reality, which is the world of suffering. And if we really care about the suffering of this world, our lives will be dedicated and devoted to dying inwardly to this consciousness put together by thought, the consciousness of suffering, and staying rooted in silence and peace instead.
Okay, so
So most of you have only heard the video to the point where it was cut, right? Cut off.
yeah.
But anyway, it's you can say whatever comes to you to be said.
So you can ask questions, or yes, I think Dr. Harshad Parekh wants to say something. Yes, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, Mina, are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, very clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. I have seen this video. I have listened very carefully, and you are talking about the illusion of a separate self. And that is what I also feel. I have not asked many questions in my life, but when I read something of what Krishnamurti said, that thought creates the thinker, the sense of I or me. And this me, that is what probably we know, the thinker. And we are living mostly in thinking, but when we want to observe the thinking itself, then there is something else needed. And what is needed is a silent awareness to just look and not ask questions. And that is what really interests me when I read Krishnamurti. And that is what interests me now after 40 years, just not to ask any questions, but just to look. And that looking requires the freedom. Otherwise, our mind will go on in this materialistic thinking, and we are living in that world of thinking only. But when this dimension of silent awareness comes, then we can really see how our mind is working. And then the whole movement slows down, and there is a peace, and there is a beauty, and so many a different way of living comes into existence with the awareness of what we call awareness or intelligence. And that is, once that is awakened and we really feel the beauty of it, then all this asking question comes to an end. There is only looking whatever is unfolding, and that shows everything what we need to see. And that seeing itself is the order. And in that everything is flowing without any question, without answer, without going round and round into thinking. So that interests me very much. Thank you. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Meena madam, whatever you said in this
Thank you,
video is
Prakesh. Sorry, thank you, Prakesh. This is your words are. The beauty of this is that I don't need to say anything to what you say. I can stay silent.
yeah.
That is the greatest gift.
Meena
Sorry.
madam, yeah. Can I say something now?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you able to listen
Go
to me?
ahead.
Yes.
Ready.
Whatever you said in video number 1, that is perfectly all right for me. Only thing what I feel that when you go close to your original nature, the suffering may end or suffering may not end, but you get the additional energy of different quality, and that supports you, and you may get the complete peace or you may not get, but that quality of energy supports you and helps you. What you have to say?
I'm so sorry, but I again need a little bit of a help in understanding your words. Can
Okay,
you
I
try
will
and
just.
say again? I'm sorry, very clearly, trying to pronounce very slowly and clearly. The gist point.
What I want to say, your first video is perfectly all right. Only I want to say that when you go close to your true nature, suffering may end or may not end. Your peace you may get or you may not get, but that different quality of energy comes into picture, which helps you out. What do you have to say? You got my point?
I
Is
think
there anybody whose pronunciation is a bit clearer?
Dubeyji, can you repeat it?
I think Mina ji, he says that when you come close to your real nature, the suffering may end or it may not end. But the extraordinary quality of energy that comes to you when you go closer to your real nature, that helps you out. I don't understand what it means, but this is what he said. Can you stay with the question when we go to the next video and then you can think about it?
Actually, you can go closer to the core of your being, to the ending of suffering. This very way of no way is the undoing of the undoing of the content of consciousness. And as it is being undone, this is the going closer. It is the undoing, and in the undoing of the content of consciousness, because the content of consciousness is consciousness, that very undoing itself is the increasing of energy. Where is my friend now on the screen? Where are you? Ah, there. Or to look at you. And that is by itself this going closer, because it is not a process of analysis, the going closer. It is the process of becoming more and more naked, metaphorically, inwardly. And that very process, Dinesh, is giving you the energy. And before coming here today, I was with my little dog, I was out in the woods. And it came to me very clearly that this path of no path, of going closer to the core, is that in all of us, very easily, and I understand it, and it at times happens here as well. When we're the closer we get, so there's a great tendency to whoops, not to walk to the very end, because the very last step, the very last step. I'm not trying to create an illusion of time, but the very last, the surrender is something in which you have to die. You die. As an image of yourself, you die. You cannot find yourself there. So that is at a very crucial point. And nothing can make it happen. Nothing that in terms of thought, cause effect. But we can together, yes.
Got the point. Thank you.
Thank you, Life. Thank you.
You want me to go to the next video now, or?
Yes, I can. Up to you. I don't have any special, whatever is convenient. If there are no other comments, we can do that.
I don't see any questions coming, so we can go to the next video now.
Okay, I will introduce it before it is being. Yeah.
Yes, please.
So this is called On Uprooting the Root of All Violence, right?
Yes.
And I've written, to exist as a thinker, separate from thought, as an ego, is by its very nature an act of violence because of its dividing nature. It violates the living fact of the wholeness of life by reducing it into its own ideas of oneself and others as separate. The ego is also an expression of insensitivity, because sensitivity comes about when sensing the interconnectedness of all manifestations in the one common source of all, which is beyond manifestation. This insensitivity, as we all know, can do and is doing horrible things in the world that is fundamentally its own creation. Therefore, if we really care, we must come back to the very origin, to the very root of it all, and be the uprooting, the ending of all forms of violence within us. That is the birth of true world peace.
Thank you. Thank you. I think
Thank
I'll share the video now.
So why is it so absolutely important to understand our true nature? For as long as we live as ideas of ourselves, as has been said recently, that very idea also contains the thought of who we are not. So the thinker and the thought, the me and the you, or the me and anything else that exists in the manifested world, for example, are separate. Now, this artificial separation is always based on this idea of always on distance, which is resistance to what really is. So this ego, as has been explained now, what it is composed of, is the root cause and the effect in its expressions of all violence, of all forms of violence. That is where it starts from. And that is why we have to go back to uproot this very root, instead of dealing with the outer manifestations of this violence. That are happening in the world that it is creating. So if we really care about the violence that is expressing itself in this world and creating the world of suffering, of misery, of wars, then we will come back to the root of it. And we will not compromise or be content with dealing with some outer expressions of violence. Because that is not the way to uproot the very root of it. Now, this state of division is unable to feel the interconnectedness and the oneness of life. And that's why it becomes so dangerous, because it lacks the sensitivity. Sensitivity comes from feeling and sensing and living the oneness of everything. So this division or insensitivity and the insensitivity that it is under the impression that the tree, for example, it looks at is separate from itself. So it can go and cut it without feeling much anything. It can step on a little beetle on the path without feeling anything. It can say harsh words to others. Because all these forms of violence spring from the same source. It's not only the extreme expression when we have got guns and we just kill each other. Actually, we violate the wholeness of life by every action that comes from this division. Yes. So it is able to do all these things because it cannot see, yes, because it cannot see that whatever it does to the beetle, it does to itself. Whatever it does to another human being, it does to itself. Whatever it does to anything that it experiences to be separate from itself, which is not true, it does to itself. And to all of us. So this is how absolutely important it is to understand the nature of violence. And in the understanding of it wholly is the uprooting of it. And that is when the world peace comes into being in you who is the world.
Best, we have quite a few questions now. Yes, Harshad Bhai, please unmute yourself.
Hello. Mina, you are talking about violence here, and the source of violence is in the ego. And not only violence, but many other problems which are created by thinking, like fear or jealousy or loneliness or conflict in relationship. The ego is the source. But to see this ego, one needs a different dimension than ego, because ego itself cannot be uprooted by itself. But seeing clearly, non-verbally, silently, we can see how ego comes into existence through thinking. And that seeing seems to be the real thing in our life, that if we cannot see the beginning of the ego, then we get involved with thinking only and try to solve the problems through thinking. It cannot solve. So that is what, that to be free from the problems created by thinking like this ego, one needs a different dimension, a what we Krishnamurti would call intelligence or choiceless awareness or silent looking. And as long as that has not happened, then we live in this world of thinking, creating more and more problems for ourselves as well as for the world around. So one needs a real curiosity, energy, attention to go to the source of the thought itself. And so the first step is the step of looking. It requires a freedom, and that's why Krishnaji sometimes says freedom is at the beginning. How do we look? So our difficulty is that we remain with thinking and analyze everything and make it everything, simple thing, more complicated. But once we get into that dimension of seeing clearly, then there are no questions. Whatever is unfolding, it doesn't create problem. It is like moving with what is. In that, there is no what should be. So there is no conflict between what is and what should be. And that is, I think, a wonderful state to be. It is like moving with light itself. When a person moves with the light itself, the chronological time stops according to Einstein's theory of relativity, that the time stops when we move with the speed of light. Similarly, when we are able to move with the thought itself and not creating a thinker out of it, not asking questions, not creating the duality between thinker and thought, then everything moves smoothly. And that moving with what is a real beauty, I would say. In that, everything is seen, how we create problems for ourselves. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How beautiful, how beautifully phrased. And the egoic desire dissolves into the desire of life itself. So who would there be in contradiction with anything that happens? And Harshad, I want to say one thing. When in the beginning you said that you pointed out that instead of violence, there are also other aspects, of course, that the ego how the ego is expressing itself. Yes, absolutely so. But the point here that the reason why I focused on violence was because all forms of violence which can express themselves as fear. There's one common factor there. It is resistance. It is division, and all these other fear and what other features you mentioned. They are violent. They are all violent in the sense that they violate the wholeness of life. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mina ji. Thank you. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Mina ji, what you said in this video is perfectly all right for me. I just want to ask one question. How do you experience this interconnectedness? Is it the extension of senses or any new instrument is coming into picture? You got my point?
Who wants to find out this?
How do you?
Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, I understand your question. This time, the words. Who wants to find out this? Because if you find out for yourself, then that question will be answered. I mean, is there somebody there who wants to gather some information? So this is about it. You understand? This is something that is worth looking into. Because if I say to you, if I answer to your question, I don't now remember what it was. If it is this or that, or how I live it, I can answer to that question and describe it as it is being lived here. But what kind of an answer would that be for you if you don't yourself live it? You understand?
for you, what is the state?
He still wants to
How do
find
you?
out. Okay.
I think it's just words. It has no meaning. I think this question should be answered by Dinesh himself rather than somebody else giving the answer.
Is it?
No, I just want.
Okay, Dinesh, dear, please repeat that question. I can say to the best of my ability how it appears here, okay? If that is important for you. I think he's frozen. He's frozen.
No,
you're not frozen.
You please answer from your experience.
Yes, can you rephrase the question then? Because I don't remember it anymore.
How do you experience interconnectedness? Is it the extension of senses here, or is it any new instrument coming into picture?
This new instrument is silence. The silence that is being approached here by Harshad, for example, in what he has been saying, and it's all about the silence of the mind. That is the instrument that is always new, because it has no time, it has no duration. It is a new instrument, and this is what you are. You are that, Dinesh. This is what you are.
For me, it is energy.
It is
Different
energy.
kind of energy.
It is energy. But let not because if we say it is energy, it is silence, it is this, it is that, there is the danger of being caught in words, right?
Yes.
Just let us just feel this energy.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Anandji.
Good evening, ma'am. My
Good
question.
evening. I'm trying to. Where are you? I can't find you.
Yeah,
And-
I'm in my with my this one picture camera. I mean, probably I won't be able, you won't be able to hear me because I have some internet problems.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, you did speak about insensitivity. The question, and these are my observations. Now, when I talk about insensitivity, I have not come across, or I have never ever said I'm an insensitive human being. I have never come across anybody which I'm talking about the others now. I have not come across anybody else who says is an insensitive person. Even the person who murders, he justifies and rationalizes. All right. And he does not, he says there was a reason for why he has committed that particular crime. So all the time we are justifying and rationalizing, saying that, and then we talk about insensitivity. I don't see it at all, that I'm being insensitive to nature, to the other animals, to the other human beings, or whatever it is. Okay, but I speak about it. I say seeing is action, but again I analyze and say thinking is a problem, ego is a problem. Look at that. I say seeing, perception, action, but I just put it into words. But I analyze it. I go back to my conditioning. I go back to my habits. I do what I want. I eat what I want. Every action of yours and mine is the reason for the violence out there. I say I see it. I want to question that. Then I analyze it. Then I give reasons. I say thinking is a problem. I say ego is a problem. This is a problem. That is a problem. Can I see how quickly I'm contradicting myself is a question. And also, I mean, this is again, this question to you, I should have asked you the last time when you spoke. You're very emotional about it. So I want to know, when you're speaking, are you speaking from what happened to you in the past, which is affecting you now, or that is because you do have an image about yourself? Okay. So how do I look at that is the question. When I become emotional when I'm talking, that means my past is playing a part in this. How do I look at that is a question. Oh, ma'am.
Raju, should we go to the next question, or you have any comments to offer?
Shripati, there is this absolute silence that is needed for anything to appear.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yes. Okay, so we'll go to the next question. Durga ji, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Hi, Mina. Good evening.
Hello, good to see you here.
Uh,
Good to see you.
yeah.
Yeah,
I hope.
can I say something? Because the previous person's talk, I'm taking it into my heart, my dear friend. It is being taken into this heart.
Yeah. 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 Can I start now?
Yes.
I just have to share a few aspects, Mina. I have seen, I have heard your videos, a couple of them. Like, you know, I have to say, this is a journey we are all have embarked upon. The journey of self-inquiry, the journey of, you know, maybe the spiritual dimensions and all that. But in this dimension, the only one question we have to ask is about ourselves. I feel, you know, the mirror has to turn completely inside. Like, you know, the previous speakers, they are saying, you know, about ego, about the image of yourself. Do we have, I know, we all, since being in this journey for so long, we have understood few things. But can we ask this question also? Have I arrived at something, or I'm in a great hurry to, you know, to go into some other things? And when we speak of silence, have I arrived really at that silence, or is it a concept for me? And if that is not a concept, maybe the silence, and it's a continuous process. It's a work in progress. It's not that it's a one-time affair. That silence is going to be the director of your actions, not otherwise. And it's not a one-time affair. It has to be seen constantly, moment to moment. And I just want to broach upon few aspects of my previous speakers have said about ego. Ego is not so easy to keep away with, you know, and the image of oneself, this constant urge to come out and speak in so many words. Can I understand that urge also? What is it that I'm gaining? Am I contributing some value to somebody, or is it only I'm only you can say whatever my mind has projected, I just want to revel in that, and I just want to share that with few people who can say yes or no, or have I understood something? Is it adding value to my being, or in and furthering my progress? I feel these questions. I feel that's all about the self-inquiry. If it's all about thought, if it's all about and Krishnaji's teaching is all about thought and self. They are so interlinked. And if at all there is anything to be understood in this world by oneself, is about oneself. And that oneself is a constant revelation. It's a constant revelation. You may gather some information from here, some knowledge from there, some books to enlighten you, or expand your understanding. But still, the journey you have to walk on that path from moment to moment. So we may have arrived at some other point, but can we look at this? Having arrived at this juncture, have I come upon some kind of a complacency, or what am I doing all these things? Why am I doing this? Can we ask that question? You know, my favorite quotation from Nishi is, you know, if you have a why to live, you can tolerate anyhow. So why am I doing this action? Is it for my, you know, feeling good about myself, or to get some praises from here and there? Is it what all my journey is about? Or is there any depth to my journey? Am I going into the depths, deeper realms of all these things, or am I just complacent with attaining few things and be happy saying all that, I feel it's all about one's life and one's self-inquiry. It's all about that, Mina, I have to say. And it's an endless process. And we don't know. It's only the beginning that's important. How far one can go, there is no destination as such. It's up to your passion, your integrity, and your deep inside urge to come upon that truth, the truth of which all these greatest seers pointing out to. So, have I arrived at the truth, or am I only going into words? I feel these are the questions one needs to ask time and again, and it's an everyday program. It's not one-time affair. I hope. Anyway, that's all I have to say, Mina. Thank you so much.
Durga, thank you so much. Beautiful. Because it is true that it is not about what Mina says or what anyone says, because there is no other. It is all about, even when we talk and listen to these videos, what it is all about.
Dialogue में भी तो बाद में करते हैं.
What is happening within us? How it's not the other. And when we discover this dimension of Abuna totally open,
You're frozen, Mina. You're frozen. Yeah.
It is then. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because I was some notification. And it is as much as you understand of yourself, that much you will understand of the other, because there is no separation. And you cannot, instead of asking the other person questions like the previous ones, I felt, do you do this, and why do you get emotional, why this or that? It is what this doesn't. I'm not disturbed by any questions. You can say anything, but it is. But the feeling is that we are then moving away from what is the state of mind of the listener himself, because in ourselves is the whole. And as you said, Durga, do you remember the first time we have seen you were the first? When you said, was it you who said that when the pupil is ready, the teacher will appear? Right. So you can understand the teacher. You can understand the teacher when that teacher and pupil is awakening within you. So there is no other. At the moment you think, we experience the other as separate, and then pose to this imagined other questions. We have already moved from the essence, which is back to ourselves, to the core. Thank you, Durga.
Thank you, Mina. Ravi, can you unmute yourself, because you're not responding? Ravi. Okay, so we'll go to Ravi Kaushal now. Please unmute yourself. Ravi Kaushal, yes.
Hello.
Yes, please ask a question. Yeah.
Yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir. So, sorry, one thing Mina says that the new instrument is silence, and the other person, I forgot the name, he says that that thing which you call silence, I call energy. So I think that the moment you conclude something, even if it is based on your perception, even if you conclude something, mind automatically turn it into a concept. So when we are talking about the silence, I think it seems to me that we are talking in terms of idea, isn't it? Can you hold silence, or can you hold that energy? Isn't it that the very liveliness of the thing which you are holding to your mind? One thing this, and another thing this, Durga Rani, I think, talking in terms of the journey. Whenever I see the people talks in terms of journey, I think that I see that they don't understand that truth has no path. The moment you understand that you don't talk in terms of journey, then there is no journey at all. It is not about the the growth, the expansion of the consciousness of the egoistic mind, the mind, the individual mind. It's not all about that. Hmm, so how should I put it in words? It's not about the this growth, this evolution of the mind. So these two, three things I see. Can you please?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So whether this silence and all these other words similar to that are ideas or not, again, that is something that you can only discover in yourself, the dimension that is beyond the mere word. So a question arises from what you say. Who or what is it in you that experiences that we are only dealing with words? What is it in you that experiences? Because it appears to me that if we experience that there is only the dimension of words, the intellectual dimension, that is partly because we are responding to things intellectually within us. But if we are able to respond wholly, which is from a place beyond the fragmentation of thought, because there is no wholeness in that realm, then at that moment we will authentically find out a dimension that is not put together by thought, and we will not lose our ability to talk, to formulate words, but then we can only verify. Wait a minute. We can only verify whether whether silence is just a word or a reality by discovering it within ourselves. It is the same theme now that is reoccurring, because at the moment there is an experience of two or more. We're in fragments and we are in thought. When there is a question that is posed from a little bit of a distance that thought creates to another, you will not find out again. I could say, no, it is true that this is not a word for me, but a living reality. But what meaning would it have to say this to you unless it is something that is that you discover yourself? You might be convinced, okay, is she enlightened then? Or then you might be skeptical. No, she's not quite. She must be lying or something. But this is already going beyond going away from the core. So this is what came to be said. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prasad ji, yes.
Hello, namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste, Mina ji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Yeah. I just want to add a few things here. Like when Anand sir was speaking, he's saying that maybe I'm wrong, but this is my understanding from Anand sir's question. Like, why you are emotional? Like, why you are emotional about when you are speaking, and so it's good to hear something negative about ourselves. Actually, it's good to hear something negative about ourselves. Something, if not, if someone questions, if someone criticizes us out of love, it's really good for us, actually. Then when we're in solitude, we'll come upon that question and we'll see what is the, maybe it will improve without our knowing the communication, the way we are communicating everything, it will improve. So in that way, the question is really good. Like, so if there is anything positive in me, that will help. Like if I'm really silent, or if I'm serious, that will help. If someone criticizes me out of love, that is really helpful for me. So in that way, Anand sir's question is really helpful for all of us, actually, to rethink how we are communicating and everything. Can we do it more effectively? In that way, it is really, really helpful. But when I thought about that, what my understanding, I may be wrong, but I feel it's not kind of emotion, but it's kind of love. that she has got for the listener. That is what my understanding. I may be wrong, but I see it like that. So it's not that she's emotional and this thing, but something she wants to see in the same for the listener as well. It should happen for everyone, for all of us actually. So that is just my small addition, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you, dear.
Uh,
You were not here when I've been criticized. I don't mind. Who would mind? Who would mind? I don't mind being criticized at all. But on an earlier occasion, Shripati remembers that when it is tears comes very easily. I have been asked about why I am so emotional, appear to be so emotional. But there I pointed out, and as I'm pointing out now as well, that not in Prasad, not in your question, but in the previous one. I don't remember the person's name. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't take it personally. There is already an idea of what being emotional is as something negative, and there's also an idea of a state in which we think the other person is in, but we don't. We cannot. Only this person can feel where the tears come from.
Yes, yes. And I think Mina, why should one feel that this is a negative thing to be called emotional? I don't think so.
Sorry, what did you say, Shripati?
I said, why should we think that this is a criticism that you are emotional? I think, why should we say that being emotional is something which is not good?
And that also, even if it was about being very superficially emotional, even if that was the case, what would be wrong with anything?
Yes.
The thought is judgment. Yes, Shripati. Let us love. Let love be here as it is. We can sense it. And everything is fine as it is. Everything.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes.
Thank
Harshad
you.
Bhai and then Anandji and then Pradeep Verma.
Okay.
Yes, Harshadji.
Yes. People are asking many questions to other human beings, but is it possible to look at the question itself within oneself? Because we cannot understand other human beings if we are not really in touch with what is happening within us. My view, it may be a kind of you may not agree, but in my view, asking many questions is a sign of restless mind, which wants to understand. But real understanding comes when there is a silent and also are these questions are coming spontaneously, and do these questions have a real vitality in it? Because when a question comes spontaneously, and then one has to look at one's own question. The answer is within us. If somebody gives an answer to my question, it has very little value. It is just a verbal communication. But when we are not asking question, are we really looking? And in that, there is a real understanding. In looking, silent looking at everything, what is outside as well as inside. And the test of our understanding is in the quality of relationship. If we have lots of conflict with people around, with everything, with philosophers, with other people, then we have to look at that conflict and see what is the source behind this conflict. Why we are interested in learning about other people, instead of just looking inward and see the real beauty of everything what is happening within us. And the whole book, everything is within us, I feel, if we know how to look within us. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad bhai. Thank you. Yes, Anandji.
So here quickly, when something is said, it's being interpreted, I mean, I have not spoken, I have not said it's a negative thing or it's a positive thing, whether it's a right thing or the wrong thing. We are sharing here. We are meeting here as Krishnamurti readers. We are sharing. And then again, questions are very essential. Questions are very important. I mean, I need to question. I need to be skeptical, not just put some stupid questions. We are talking about life per se, life itself. I brought up this emotion part of the Mina is because she also spoke about, what do you call, the insensitivity of the human beings. We are very insensitive human beings. So that is where, I try to connect the emotional aspect of one person, how we are looking at this and how we also look at that. Like I said, your action and my action is responsible for the violence which is taking place out there. Our habits I mentioned. I want to be very specific. I'm mentioning about the eating habits also. What we eat it's a major concern, is a major problem. So can I look at that as a question? Now I've talked about insensitivity and I am asking, do I consider myself insensitive? When I say myself, I'm also putting that question to you. We are sharing together as two friends. Okay. It is, I don't want to use the word love and affection, but then we are sharing as two good friends without any malice or without any, I don't know. I mean, most of us, we have never even met. All right. But again, there's nothing to say, this person is good or that person is bad. Now, if I say that, I need to look at it. And when we're talking about emotional aspect of it, now, when the past is playing a role in right now in my emotions, can I see K is talking all the time? Can I remain with what is? So I don't remain. So can I see that I have found many escapes from it? I may justify it, I may rationalize it, I may reason it out. But at the same time, I contradict myself. Perception, action, I say, but then I keep analyzing, and then, there's a fragmentation, division, all that takes place. Again, I talk about my thinking, where thinking is me. I say thinking should not be there. I condemn thinking. The moment I condemn thinking, again, I'm back to the same position from where I've started. I'm back to my conditioning, I'm back to my analysis, again, good and bad. So even when Mr. Harshad Parekh is talking about, it's beauty is not just looking out there. What I call that is, can I see, there has to be that sensitivity in me to look what is happening out there. Not just have a pleasant time wherever, whatever I do. That is not what is called looking, sir. I wouldn't say I disagree, but I'm just sharing with you. The problem which is affecting the entire planet right now, I keep stressing on this. I don't even want to see it. I don't even want to look at it. And Mina did mention about we being insensitive to nature. She did mention that. And in that connection, I brought in I said I shouldn't be talking to you, in this meeting, if it happened in the last meeting. I did mention that also. I'm not trying to criticize anybody or trying to say anything negative. I'm just sharing. That's about all. Of course, something happened in my life, it affects me. There's no doubt about it. It happened to you. It happens to me also. That is there. Why should I condemn that? That is your interpretation. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying emotions are bad.
Can we close it at that? I think this forum is meant to ask questions, but one shouldn't get personal and so on. I think you have every right. You have every right to express your understanding, and that is what this place is meant for. And there are many questions that we have to answer ourselves rather than somebody else answering them for them. Nobody can answer some of the fundamental questions that we face when we read Krishna, because they're questions that one has to grapple with oneself in our life, in our daily living. So you're welcome to ask questions. Don't feel that you can't ask questions. So, but we shouldn't get personal. That is not the forum.
Absolutely, sir. And we are asking questions only in this meeting. These questions I can't go outside and ask. I can't ask my other friends, my other family members. Only here.
Absolutely.
Because we're supposed to be Krishnamurti readers, I am putting these questions.
Yes, yes.
In fact, my wife says, who is Krishnamurti? Now, what do I say? I mean, she worships Sai Baba. I mean, I can't do anything about it. I'm just giving you, I mean, this is a personal thing, sir. I shouldn't be talking about, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
nothing,
yeah.
nothing wrong. There must be
Yeah.
something great in Sai Baba because he has so many followers. Yeah, yeah.
No, anyway, sir, I won't look at that. Anyway, that's okay. Yeah, that's
Thank
okay.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr.
Thank you,
Pradeep
Anand.
Verma.
It would be easier to sort of respond to what you say if you were able to pose out of that content one question to look at it. You understand? It's that would help.
Yes, Dr. Pradeep Verma. Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes.
I am audible. Thank you. What Harshad ji was talking is about choiceless awareness, the ultimate through self and the center within me. Ultimate is, if you want to see things as they are, then one has to be choiceless in awareness. Awareness to me is a very natural thing in us, which got covered with choices. Awareness is very natural to all of us. Then witness phase is just the same. Then seeing things as they are, so this is most important, to live with what is, to live completely with what is, without any movement. Movement has relationship to the silence people are talking about. Movement, problems, jealousy, envy, anger, etc., etc. So this is seeing yourself as you are this very moment. This very moment. I know I am listening to this discourse and all that. Then he also talked about freedom. Freedom is in the beginning. Wonderful. And what is this freedom? Freedom from the self. To say it very shortly, it is freedom from the self. And if there is a freedom from the self, then silence naturally occurs. You see? And this freedom from self is, in a way, freedom from polarities, dualities, and all those things. So it is that simple. I'm just telling you, I ask most of the questions to myself and myself only, or through books. If something has been discussed on similar things, I go and read books from any author. So now, little thing I'll get clarification. Seeing things as they are, when a seer is looking at seeing violence all around, it's seer, you can say JK is watching violence all around with whatever sensitivity he has, and the perception is action. So action follows without the actor, probably. Then only it can be real thing. If the actor is acting, then naturally the self is already there, deeply into it. So this is what I think, that how do they see this violence? And the compassion is a part of that automatically. If they see something, and but what we see around today, things as they are, full of violence within families, all around in the world, one-upmanship, everything. How come people who have understood, and they say, if your consciousness of one person has changed, it affects around. Really? I have to see that in what is happening right now, a lot of violence. And what can an individual do? That is there, of course, this can reflect in my behavior with my people around, in my family, with my workers, with my helpers and all that. But overall situation remains pretty grim. in spite of all this, the situation remains pretty grim. So, choiceless awareness and this polarity in the atmosphere all around. Anand was talking about sensitivity to environment, to beings, other helping, other living beings and all that. Probably sensitivity is inherent in people, inherent. You can't cultivate it. Nobody can give it to you. Sensitivity is either there of any degree, so that works. That is not natural. I think I have expressed some of the feelings, and if somebody would like to correct me, he can. He's welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you, Pradeep. Beautifully expressed. And thank you for posing these wanting to share these with all. Thank you.
Ravi, can you unmute yourself? Ravi? Obviously, he cannot. There is something wrong with your computer, I guess. Yes, Ravi Kaushal.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
So I'm saying that there is one person, Ravi G. He messaged 2-3 times that he is raising the hand, but
I don't know. We are not able to unmute him. I don't know. There is something wrong with his system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one thing I want to say, nothing else.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I think we are seeing him. We are seeing it, but we are unable to help him. Yeah. Yes, Harshad bhai, unmute yourself.
Yes. Pradeep ji says that awareness is natural. What kind of awareness it is? Is it really awareness of thinking and feeling as they arise in the present moment? That kind of awareness, or just seeing everything around with a normal way? If awareness is natural, then why there are so much violence? I feel that because this awareness is not awakened to see thoughts and feelings as they are. Because that awareness is not awakened, we get carried away by our own ego problems, that when somebody insults, we get angry. It happens because the awareness is not awakened. But when that awareness is awakened, we can listen to the criticism without any feeling of hurt. So I would say that this choiceless awareness or intelligence is very rare in human beings. And when that is awakened, life becomes much more enjoyable, and we stop creating many problems which we create for ourselves. It may not be able to change other human beings. It may not be able to change the world, but we can really begin to see ourselves as we are in the present moment. And that is the real beauty of it. And then that reflects in the way we look at the trees or the human beings or the colors in the sky or the stars. Everything, it looks so clear, so beautiful when the mind is not chattering, not asking many intellectual questions. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Harshad, it does change the world by letting the world end in one. Of course, we will not find the proof in the world that is in the world that is going on, but we are looking for the proof of what's in wrong places. It does affect the world by the world ending in you, the world of suffering ending in you.
Right.
Yes. And Pradeep, when you talked about natural awareness, I said yes, because the way I understood the natural there was that awareness, the way Harshad has described it, for example, now, is our natural state. In that sense, it is natural.
Right.
And everything else that the mind creates is unnatural and pretentious, and needs effort. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Pradeep ji.
Yes, I wanted to about awareness. If awareness is, he is talking about a specified awareness, choiceless awareness. As the awareness is natural in us, choices are also natural in us. So there is nothing wrong with it. But the only thing is, if you are identified with things and you get attached to things, that is the suffering. That is the problem. Attachment is the problem. Even suppose choicelessly, when I see violence all around, how do I see violence all around? Without knowing, with violence and without violence, unless until, how do I feel it? Sensitivity automatically comes. You can't dance when so much of violence is all around. Even if you are choiceless awareness, I don't think it doesn't mean it doesn't. I'm not concerned about anyone, and we say I am the world, and I'm not concerned about so much of violence all around. I am not concerned because I am in what is called choiceless awareness, or I am in witness phase. I have nothing to do whether this gets it or this fellow gets it. How does it matter? To me, it doesn't matter. So seeing things as they are is violence. What a seer feels, what he must be feeling, and why he's speaking for 50, 60 years, or 100 years, or 200 years, right from Greeks to today. So many people talking about the same thing again and again, and the violence goes unabated. So awareness is definitely natural, but the only thing is choices cover you up. Simply, it's not difficult to find. And even now, it's not that every time you have a choice. Suppose this very moment, no choice is, particular choice is troubling me. I'm talking to you, I'm seeing all of the speakers, and whatever they are talking right at the moment, I have no choices. So it's not that awareness is not available. Right now, it is available to all of us. This is what I feel. All of us, that awareness, choiceless awareness. And if something is right there, things as they are is violence, how can I dance about it? How can I sing? Sorry to say these harsh words. Thank you very much. I've taken enough time.
I think there is basic difference between how Krishna describes awareness and how in common parlance we see awareness. Awareness is, in general terms, it's seeing something. But when Krishna says about being fully aware, then you are not worried about what is happening, you are just seeing it. I mean, even by dancing, if you can change the word, then it's better to dance. But that doesn't happen. But if you see things as they are, then something happens inside you, not outside. That inside creates a situation, that silence or energy, whatever you call it, where you can see things as they are. I think there are two more hands being raised, and I have only 2 minutes. So I'll request, I can take only one question. Anandji.
Can I say something before that?
Yes, do that.
To all this, that when you look at violence and witness any expression of violence, but you look at it and you witness it with the eyes of wholeness, which are beyond physical eyes. So that is when what you see sort of ceases to exist for you, because you are looking at it from a different dimension. And this is what may appear to the thinking mind, it may appear as total indifference. And indifference, don't you care about the suffering? You just laugh and dance. Oh yes, that keeps going on. But it is actually caring so much, absolutely caring, that one does not care about the illusion anymore. It doesn't exist. So this is how it appears to be working, and it's understandably misunderstood.
Thank you, Mina ji. Thank you. I think we have come to the end of the talk, 7:30 now. And
Yes, it's been very intense, very intense.
yes, very intense. And we have quite a few videos which would have loved to see, but we couldn't. So maybe next time. And I want to thank Mina ji once again for being with us. And it was a
want
very
to thank you.
stimulating discourse. It invited lots of questions. I wish we had more time. So thank you. Thanks once again. We'll see you sometimes
Thank you.
in future. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dubey ji. Modak, you may end it.